In order to enhance the damage diffusion of the microstructure, a new type of hybrid microstructure was conceived. The inner and outer layers of the cross-lamellar CFRP were replaced with aluminium. The microstructure was prototyped based on the bonding procedure with IM78552 prepreg and 0.4 mm thick 2024 T3 aluminium. The hybrid microstructure was tested in 3-point bending in an SEM environment, just like the cross-lamellar CFRP. Here is what the microstructure looks like in the SEM, with the 3 different layers highlighted. Now let's have a look how the specimen breaks. When we load the specimen, first an array of deflected cracks forms in the middle layer. Unlike in the cross-lamellar CFRP, these cracks don't extend very far into the middle layer. We reached the maximum displacement of the tester before the final failure of the specimen. And if we look at the load displacement curve, all the load drops are caused by specimen relaxation while we pause the test to take images. We can see that the microstructure dissipates energy in a very stable manner under more or less constant load. The microstructure can be loaded up to large curvatures without it losing its load carrying capacity. After the test, we wanted to assess the damage in the microstructure. We looked at the specimen under the microscope and saw something that looks like kinking, a feature commonly associated with compressive failure. And in the other direction, we saw splits along the fiber direction, but these splits don't extend across the ply interfaces, and there is no delamination between the plies. So how can we observe the kinking, a feature that is commonly associated with compressive failure? We believe the mechanism is as follows. Let's look at this piece of material. It has the ± 45-degree orientation with respect to thickness, and here you can see 2 plies superposed. Now let's just focus on the superposed plies. When the specimen is loaded, the material is under bending and shearing, with some fibers more in tension than the others. Eventually, a matrix crack in the fiber direction forms. In this case, it forms in the ply with the blue fibers, which is behind the ply with the red fibers. Energy is released, but this doesn't trigger delamination between the plus and minus 45 plies, as we can see in this photo. Instead, a kink band forms in the ply with the red fibers. So we believe that this is the mechanism behind the formation of this feature that is commonly associated with compressive failure. Now the question left is, how does our material compare with other materials? We compared our material with the specific bending stiffness and curvature at failure of selected materials. Here are some CFRPs in black, glass fibers in grey, some aluminium CFRP hybrids in orange, pure epoxy in red, and aluminium in blue. I supervised a master's project where we carried out more tests on our material on macro scale. Here is a tested specimen on a larger scale, and you can see that it really undergoes large deformations without breaking. So I carried out these tests with my student, and this is where we are at the moment. The bending stiffness of our material is comparable to the stiffness of other aluminium CFRP hybrids and quasi-isotropic CFRP laminates, but we reach curvatures that are significantly larger than any of those materials. And compared with aluminium, our material is slightly above aluminium in terms of stiffness, and at the moment we're slightly below in terms of curvature. However, this is expected because if we look at this specimen, we can see that the aluminium hasn't broken yet. The point is likely to move beyond aluminium once we manage to fully break the material.